Hi, welcome to the first of a series that we're doing called How To Tuesday. And on this first How To Tuesday, I thought I would just run through with you the concept that we have around growing degree days versus calendar days, and why a growing degree day is so important for us at Bitwise for looking at how we do our forecasting. So here's a graph here of a customer that we had in Tasmania, and we looked at how the crop ripened 2 different years in a row. So the blue line is for April 2023, and the orange line is for April 2024, so this year. And so up here, we've got the percentage picked of like how many reds that were on the crop were ready to pick, how many colours, whites and mature greens that we saw in our footage over this time in April that we were looking at. And when we look at how the crop ripened in 2023 in calendar days versus 2024, we can see that there's quite a deviation here between the 2 years. And so this is why forecasting is really hard. So what we could do is we could say 100% of the reds that were available in the video. So, you know, last year at about 3 days, 100% of the reds were picked. But this year in 2024 in April, it actually took 7 days for 100% of the reds to pick. So, you know, that's like 4 days extra it took because we had a real cold snap at the beginning of April, and it took twice as long for those reds to be ripe enough to pick. So you can see how if you're trying to forecast out, looking at year on year, well, what did it do last year and what did it do the year before? It's really hard because the weather changes and it impacts the crop. As we come up to the end of this kind of flush of berries, we can see that last year it took 10 days for all of the whites to be picked. And, you know, actually that time difference has got closer together in days, and it took 12 days. So now we've only got a gap of 2 days at the end of the season, because it must have been warmer at the end of the season when we look at actual days. But when we start to look at this against growing degree days, so we do a calculation of how many heat units are in the days, and then we look at how many heat units does it take to get to each stage, which is the same year on year, and so we can use the same ripening curves all of the time to forecast out. What we're actually seeing is that they're a lot closer together when we look at how they're actually ripening and taking their actual day out of it. So again, the blue line is 2023, orange line is 2024, and then this dotted green line is our ripening curve, which is what we've generated for this variety of how they grow, they ripen against growing degree days. So what we can see here is that the last year, you know, there still is a little bit of a deviation. So we've got about 7 days versus about, 15 growing degree days. So that's about 1 calendar day we're seeing there difference when we come to that stage. But you can see that it takes a very similar class and it comes together pretty closely. So what this means is that we can use the same ripening curve year after year after year and not worry about what the actual weather is doing on a day-to-day basis, because we take that ambiguity of calendar days out of it, and therefore we can forecast extremely accurate by using these curves instead of using calendar days. So that's what we do, and we can actually see, yep, the trend was pretty much the same, even though the calendar days trend was very different. So I hope that answers your how to and why for growing degree days and why we use it. Thanks for your time. Bye.